Hey, it's Lata Hamilton, change leadership and confidence expert, and I wanted to make a video to talk through the true costs of not asking for a pay rise. And I know that asking for a pay rise can be like super hard for some of us, especially for women. And sometimes it's like you don't even think about asking for a pay rise. Like it just doesn't even like cross your mind that it's even possible. Like I had one student in leading successful change, and she was like going for a new role. And yeah, and she just didn't even realize that it was even possible that she could ask until I kind of just said to her, "Oh, are you going to ask for a pay rise?" And it was like, "Oh, can I?" Like, so yeah, it's something that kind of probably affects a lot of us, where we're just like, can we ask? Like, and then we think that we can't ask, but like, what are the true costs behind that if you actually aren't asking for a pay rise? So let's have a little look. So wanting a pay rise is a perfectly valid request, but the catch 22 is that you've got to ask. You've got to ask for the pay rise. Now, for most women, we want other people to recognize and reward us for our results and efforts rather than setting our own worth and then communicating that to the world. So we're sitting kind of like waiting for other people to tell us what we should be earning and what we are worth. So instead of asking, we wait, frustrated and fed up for that pay rise to land on our desks and in our pay slips. We just want to be given it. We don't want to have to ask for it. We don't want to have to put ourselves out there. But here's the cost of actually not asking. And so it actually makes sense though, like why we have this challenge around asking. Like for millennia and right up until today, women have been unpaid for the household labor that they provide, cooking, cleaning, laundry, childcare. Like they do so much more of that even today, and obviously have done for most of history or all of history. Women have been doing like a lot of that unpaid household labor, not to mention the mental load. So there's the physical work of actually doing the cooking, cleaning, laundry, and childcare, which women still do more of that than men. Like I remember like in university, we learned that like women do, I think it's like 3 times as much cooking, 4 times as much cleaning, and like 5 times as much laundry as men in households. And so the mental load of remembering, tracking, and directing to keep the household organized. So like on top of all the physical work, you also have this mental load that women carry around remembering and thinking to do everything and planning and organizing. And all of this still falls primarily to women. So like just from that perspective, like women are used to not being paid for the work that they do because the work in the house isn't seen as like in inverted commas real work. So then to ask for a pay rise when you're doing real work, it's like you're so out of practice, because for millennia, like it's within you, of generations of experience where you just haven't had any of your work being taken into account. For centuries, women couldn't own property, so property couldn't pass down through the female line, it had to pass down through the male line. Women couldn't open their own bank accounts, they couldn't take out credit or even sign a rental lease. So like I remember my mum telling me this story of like her, and this was like in the 70s, right? And she had to have like a male guarantor on her rental lease, like to rent a place, like to rent a property. And it was just like, that was only one generation ago. That was only one generation ago that a single woman could not go and rent their own property, that they had to have a male guarantor on that lease to kind of back them up. And so, because historically and today, women are also notoriously underpaid in almost all professions. So, as of the time of recording this video, the gender pay gap is still sitting at over 22.8% in Australia, according to the Australian government's Workplace Gender Equality Agency, and about 37% around the world, according to the World Economic Forum. So women are notoriously underpaid everywhere, everywhere. And also add to that that we're also judged more critically than our male colleagues, despite the fact that we make great leaders, we make savvy investors, and we are absolutely great high performers when given the chance. So a lot of programming, and it is really, really hard to break, like a lot of programming around why we shouldn't be paid at all. A lot of history around that, a lot of programming around why we might not feel safe to ask, why we might not feel like we can, that we deserve to ask, or that it's even appropriate to even ask. But despite all of this, we are brave, we are bold, we are backing ourselves to earn our worth and ask for what we deserve. We are doing that. But let's be honest, it's still super hard to ask, right? Like, it's still super hard to ask. So I always like to look at awareness and choice. And as an executive coach, something that I'm very passionate about is raising important information to awareness. So, like, the first step is awareness, and then the second step is choice. You need to have the information. You need to have the full and clear picture of all of the realities and all of the consequences so that you can build the confidence and the motivation to do things differently. So what does this mean when it comes to pay rises? Having awareness means calculating the cost, raising to awareness the information around what it's actually costing. So we want to get ourselves really aware of what being stuck where you are, so where you're not being given the pay rise or the promotion or going for the career change that you want, what is that truly costing you? And like, money is one part of that, but there's so much more. There's so much more than just money. And what I would also say is, like, yeah, cool. It's not just what it's costing you today. Like, what does that mean for you today? But like, what does that mean for you tomorrow? And like, what could that mean for you in the future? So by not getting the pay rise today, how could that impact today, tomorrow, and further in the future? So I'm going to talk through 3 types of costs that you should take into consideration when you're avoiding asking for a pay rise. And obviously, I'm not a financial advisor or a planner or anybody like that. Like, you can go and find those experts. I'm just kind of going to talk about this really generally. So definitely, find out the information specific to your specific case. I'm just going to talk about it in really general terms. So number 1 is financial costs. So for you, these could be like lifestyle impacts. So by not getting a pay rise, it could mean that you're not getting the house, car, holidays, or maybe like kind of base security, like health, family, and time off that you would like to have. So like, it could be that you can't upgrade your house or your car, make it more livable, make it more usable, have something that's actually fit for purpose, or even just a bit of luxury. Like, you are allowed to have some luxury in your life as well. Absolutely. Or just to take breaks, have time off, pay for health insurance, like have time off to support your health, which I do also believe in greatly. So these are all things that kind of hold you back from a financial perspective. And controversially, like, I know that this isn't probably a popular opinion, but like, I believe that if your salary only goes up with inflation, so in line with inflation, about 1 to 3% per year on average, so like CPI, consumer price index, the cost of living. If your salary only goes up by 1 to 3% a year, you actually aren't getting a pay rise. You actually aren't getting a pay rise because your pay is going up with the cost of living, but that only buys the same amount. That only buys the same amount because all of the cost of everything else is going up at exactly the same rate. So like, yeah, the actual dollar figure might be increased, but the value of what you can actually purchase is exactly the same. So if you don't get a pay rise at all, and this is exceptionally controversial, like if you don't get a pay rise at all, then perhaps you could even say that your company is stealing from you because you're getting the same money, but it buys less. So you really, like, when I talk about financial costs, yes, the superficial stuff like the house and the car and the holidays and stuff like that, like, that's all well and good. But like, when you actually look at it at a deeper level, like, it's actually pretty sinister if you're not getting a pay rise, if you're not asking for a pay rise and getting a pay rise. Like, it can actually like be quite a lot in terms of like what it truly means, and not even just the cost on like major things and big things, but everyday costs as well. So the other costs that can absolutely happen when you are not asking for a pay rise, when you're being stuck at a particular pay level, it could be personal costs to you. So like, how you feel about yourself personally. And like, if you're feeling undervalued and underappreciated, like, what is that costing you in self-worth, in self-confidence, in self-esteem? What is that costing you in like your own beliefs that you hold about yourself and for yourself, about your potential, your success, career, progress? And how could that then affect your health, your emotions, and your relationships? Because we know that all this stuff is intertwined. Like, you don't exist in a vacuum. You exist holistically within your career, leadership, and life, all together, wrapped up holistically. And so if you're feeling undervalued, underappreciated, not earning what you truly believe that you are worth, like, that can really impact your self-worth, your self-confidence, your self-esteem, and then have ripple effects to other parts of your life as well. And then finally, spiritual costs. And so, like, what could this be costing you in variety, growth, purpose, passion, inspiration, taking your soul to the next level? Like, yes, we go to work for a paycheck. Like, yes, we are not working for free. We want to earn some money. But like, there are so many other aspects to work and like what it means to us and what it gives us. And it really starts to help us feel that fulfillment. And like, my question to you would be like, can your spirit really sing? If it's stagnating, can you shine your light in the world if you feel overlooked and underpaid, underappreciated, underpaid, overlooked, not given the opportunities, not given what you believe you truly deserve? Can you fulfill your life's purpose without the internal and external resources to make it happen? So, this one, even in itself, while it might sound a little bit fluffy, like this is the stuff that makes your life worthwhile. This is the stuff that makes your life meaningful. And like whatever that is for you, like having not being able to earn the money in order to be able to go and do that and go after that can really start to impact you. Okay, so pop a subscribe, hit the subscribe button and pop a like on this video if you're liking what you're hearing. And if maybe like some of the things that I'm talking about, maybe you hadn't thought before, maybe you hadn't realized before. And definitely pop in the comments. Let me know, like, do you believe that women deserve equal pay? Yay or nay? Like, why do we have this gender pay gap? Yay or nay? Let me know in the comments below. If you believe that women deserve equal pay. I'd love to hear from you. So yeah, pop a yay if you think that women do deserve equal pay, or a nay if you think that they don't. And let me know why. Let me know why as well. All right. So I would also say, just remember that this is broader than you. This is absolutely broader than you. Because like, remember, like compared to men, women generally earn less in equal roles. They don't negotiate their pay. They work in female dominated industries that generally have a gender pay gap. They're left out of senior leadership in all areas, like not even just in the workplace, in politics, in like every area. Like women aren't on the boards, they're not in the C-suite, they're not in the senior leadership positions. Like we still have to have quotas to try and get women to have equal participation in those areas. And then obviously women also take more time than men out of the workforce to care for children, to care for partners, to care for parents. And ironically, women live longer. So they're earning less, they don't negotiate, they work in female dominated industries with a gender pay gap, so earning less because of the industry they're in, left out of senior positions, which generally have the higher pay, and then they take time out of the workforce. But on all of that, ironically, women actually live longer. So if anything, we should be earning more, probably more, to compensate for the fact that we actually live longer overall. So it's broader than just you. Like every time that a woman decides to negotiate a pay rise, it paves the way for other women to do the same. And like the same thing is true of promotions and changing careers to a higher paying profession. That's why I share so much about my salary increases and my job changes, because I want to inspire you and others that you are allowed to ask for what you deserve and own your worth. Nobody deserves that but you. And like truly, like people, we need to see other people. We need to see examples out there that it is possible. And like that's part of the reason why I've been so successful, because I saw that it was possible for others. And then I was like, okay, cool, it's possible for me. So nobody decides your worth but you. And so if you are wanting to absolutely go and go through the calculating the costs in a bit more detail, it's actually step number 1 of my 5-step career change formula of asking for a pay rise and earning your worth. So you can find out what to do next and get a script for asking for a pay rise in my free underpaid and overlooked coaching action guide. So this is Lata Hamilton. You can grab that free action guide at latahamilton.com/worth it. So see the link in the description below and in the first comment. And when you're ready to take your next best step, come join me on my Leading Successful Change program. So thanks so much for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel and I'll see you on the next one.